When I searched about the two most high ranking leaders of my country, I noticed right away that the first three articles from CTV News were about the vice president. Well, aside from being very popular in my social media feeds right now, our current vice president grew up in the same city I was born in. This may be the reason I can talk about something that I'm confident about, and at the same time, you can say that my little bias over here. Judging from the photo covers, for me, there's nothing wrong here, no biased photos whatsoever. So I picked the first news about her, and the headline said Philippine Vice President impeached, accused of plotting to assassinate President. The writer of the article was from the Associated Press, and in our class, I learned that these types of reporters are most of the time factual news. At first glance, I thought, should I believe the Associated Press if the writer of the article is not someone from the Philippines? As I reached the end of the article, I saw the name of the writer, Jim Gomez, and when I Googled his name, I found on LinkedIn that indeed he is a local. In my opinion, yes, the writer has the credibility to speak about something, especially because he is from the Philippines. The headline is indeed factual, but it is kind of misleading. Although the first paragraph of the article states that the lower house impeached her, readers only who only see the headline, as well as those who may be biased or less informed, could be led to believe that she has already been impeached. Secondly, she plots to assassinate the president. Yes, it was mentioned in the later part of the article, yet the sentence has a different tone compared to the news I saw on YouTube from local news ANC. For me, the article is biased because the sentence construction was direct and critical. In contrast, in her uploaded video, which was aired on the news, the assigned reporter emphasized that the threats were made if she were killed, which suggests she was expressing her threat under pressure from the real conflict rather than just making a hollow threat. This is the article, and this article follows the inverted pyramid structure with the four W's and H presented in the first paragraph. Who is the Vice President of the Philippines, Sara Duterte, and the legislators in the House of Representatives? What is about her wide range of crimes, including accusations of her plotting to assassinate the president, large scale corruption, and the issues related to the Filipino forces in the disputed South China Sea? When it took place on a Wednesday, where in the House of Representatives in Manila, Philippines, and the how is further explained in the second paragraph, which is also the second part of the inverted pyramid or the context of the article, stating that the move by the legislators in the House of Representatives, many of them are allies of the President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., deepens a bitter political rift that involved the two highest leaders of one of Asia's most rambunctious democracies. The third part is the expert opinion of the inverted pyramid. The article is largely factual and neutral. The details, including some of the names involved, are fact based. The fourth part, or the contrary point of view of the inverted pyramid, which I have mentioned earlier, that for me it is a bit biased and is also incomplete. Journalists should uphold principles and values, one of which is fairness and balance. However, I noticed that the article is not entirely fair. There's no mention of Vice President Sara Duterte's side. To achieve fairness, all key individuals involved should have the opportunity to present their names. So it's only the brother of Sara Duterte who has a statement in the article. Independency, I'm not really sure about independence because corruption in the Philippines is overwhelming. Money plays a huge role in everything. Even though the Marcoses were very powerful in the past, they still became victims of black propaganda from another political dynasty that opposed them before. Objectivity, the article was largely factual. I would agree that there is objectivity because it is not based on opinion and there are not many emotions involved in the writing. Confidentiality, the article does not specify who made certain statements, only referring to the complaint rather than identifying individuals among the 215 legislators. This lack of attribution could be perceived as biased, possibly serving political interests. Lastly is humanity. The writer's tone when discussed the assassination plan of the president appears neutral. The writer avoided using emotional charged language and the vulgar parts of the vice president's statement, suggesting that the writer likely adhered to journalistic ethics by maintaining a sense of humanity. The last part of the inverted pyramid is the effect. For me, the consequence of a biased article would be chaos and confusion, especially for those I mentioned earlier, people who only read headlines, the less educated, and the bashers or trolls. Everyone involved in the article should have their statement or side included, allowing readers to form their own opinions and decide which side they want to support. I believe readers deserve transparency, especially since the money comes from the masses and is entrusted to the government, particularly the offices of the president and the vice president. Finally, these are my sources.